Let's bring in our guest for the fun half.
Hello.
Wow, look at this. Wow.
Yo, you want me to get like all the way in here?
Yes.
Oh my God, you guys have such. This is crazy. I can't believe like you got
How great it looks.
Why do we have that line in between there?
Now, this is the first time I've ever seen you in person. You have a very large arm.
Oh my God, that's crazy. I didn't
What
even.
a coincidence.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
No, I didn't.
I didn't get the same compliment when I walked in my tank top today.
So much for the arm wrestling contest that we had planned. That water, incidentally, is for you.
Oh,
and
thank you.
That mug is for you.
Wow, 20 years of pausing it.
Yeah, there you go.
Majority Report Radio. What an incredible get. Is this available on the shop?
Yes.
It is, but
Okay.
that one is for you. But we also do have some other merch that we're going to have you model in the fun half.
Why are you in New York?
I'm doing an interview with Mahmoud Khalil. I'm doing something with Hassan Minhaj. And most importantly, I was like, I have to come on the Majority Report. I was ducking you guys
We have
for too long.
we have new trucker hats.
We'll sell a lot more if you actually put this on.
Majority
Of
Report
course.
Radio.
Let me grab
So
it.
do
Let
you
me wear
want-
It's a
that.
special one that we thought might be good for you.
Oh my God. Is this one of the hats for real?
It is one of that.
I love that.
Yeah, there you
Max
go.
left. This is gonna piss some people off, I
looks-
think.
I think it might.
All right, well, listen, we got to take a break and head into the fun half of the program. And we are
All
back.
right.
Sam Seder, Emma Vigeland on the Majority Report. The special guest, Hasan Piker, is in the studio, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a while since we had, I think, honestly, the last in-studio guest we had was Matt Duss.
And he's also
He's
massive.
also,
This is a cool setup. This is cool.
Describe the office for the audience, please. What's your impression immediately?
Very professional. That's what I thought. I thought like, am I in the MSNBC studios?
yeah.
Like, what's happening
Yeah,
here?
it's-
I mean, it's
very,
vast, right? That's the
Yeah.
Soros wing that
Yeah.
obviously has the
Is-
hot tub.
It's clear that the Qatar funding has kicked in.
it is kicked in.
Yeah.
And wait till Annabelle, our intern, takes you down to the commissary.
Wow.
On the second floor, and you will enjoy. We have a blueberry crumble that's going on right now because it's blueberry season.
Oh wow.
Appreciate you coming in today,
What?
particularly this morning because last night
The control.
I got
I
the
know.
text from you at let's see,
Oh yeah, it was late.
it was 3:11.
Yeah, I was
a.m.
hanging
thought,
out with
like,
my
oh,
buddies.
You're gonna be. I didn't know if you were gonna actually make it in.
No, I mean, that's not a problem for me. I woke up at 10, very reasonable, which is like 7 a.m. for my time anyway. So I'm still basically on LA time. I mean, I did just come in yesterday. But yeah, I was hanging out with a bunch of friends of mine. Shouts out to Noah Colwyn, Blowback Podcast,
The man.
Millennial John Stewart, Adam Friedland, Felix Biederman of Chapo Trap House, and
Is
numerous other
Felix
people.
still in town?
He lives here now.
Oh,
he
yeah,
he
came
came
back.
back. He came back to live
They
here.
used to. Their office used to be in this building.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes, back in the day.
This is a legendary building. it
back in
seems.
the back. It was. They were here briefly, just before COVID, I think.
Yeah.
Last time, the near miss, we were going to come in for the Mamdani victory party,
Yeah.
and you were confident about that.
I was not confident about it. I will admit that I was. I didn't think that the margin of success would be so vast in the first round.
Right.
Like in the
Me
but
neither.
I didn't even think that it was like a definite given 100% victory. Like I knew that the campaign was vast, tremendous amount of groundwork, policies are good, but I've seen it fail too many times due to media intervention, due to people just not having confidence, not having enough name recognition for a progressive candidate. That I still was like, I'm not going to allow myself to feel incredibly sad, just as I did after Super Tuesday.
Right.
When,
Right.
We have to protect ourselves, but
Yeah.
I didn't think that it was. I think everybody thought that the path to victory was going to be through multiple rounds, and the fact that I woke up, but it happened at night, on election night, that it was basically decisive.
Yeah.
It just speaks to the the ground operation that he built out, which like 50,000 volunteers and the matching campaign finance system here in New York, which I feel like LA could really benefit from. That maybe is something that...
And ranked choice voting, too.
Yes.
It's too much
huge.
democracy, though. We don't like that.
And then the AOC endorsement was perfectly timed. As
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
The ranked choice voting, it seems to me, can cut both ways. But when people figured out, I mean, like, and I think this is sort of the underreported story about how AOC's people were like, we're not endorsing until you guys figure out how to make sure you don't split the vote. And, you know, a lot's been talked about how Brad Lander basically sucked it up. And I think it was hard for him to do. But I think he's been paid dividends, huge dividends. The amount of goodwill towards him right now, he could basically do what he wants politically.
If AOC runs for president and doesn't run for Chuck Schumer's Senate seat, Brad Lander could be the person that takes Chuck Schumer's Senate seat.
It's not inconceivable, and and I think like that gives a a proof of concept for other places to do this. I mean, the ranked choice voting bit us in the ass, I think, back in 2021, whenever it was the Adams race.
Yeah.
And now we see the difference. But here is Mamdani. I want to play this clip. They tried to shoot one of his classic sort of on the street videos.
Oh, yeah.
To promote. We don't know what the ad was going to be. But they ended up basically putting together a compilation of their attempts. And it is really incredible, the feeling of enthusiasm that is in New York. Like on that day after the election, when I walked to work, I got stopped by 3 people who were just excited to talk about Mamdani.
All right, that's slower than a tourist walks to Midtown. Okay, you want a photo, brother? Yeah. Yeah, let's take one. Yes, that's me. Yes. Yeah, we can take one.
I voted somebody that won.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We're on our way. Thank you. Yeah, no worries. Thank you. How's it going, guys? Thank you. You gotta catch up to me over here. How you doing, brother? Thank you, guys. Thank you, my man. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, for sure. Hi, Assalamu alaikum. How are you? Ready? Okay. I think she's coming. Thank you.
I voted for you. Yo voté por ti. Yo voté por ti. My daughter, she said, voted for you.
Thank you.
Give me one picture for
Yes.
my daughter. My daughter. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
He can't even take a picture without having to take another picture.
Let's go.
And he helps her
Here,
out.
I'll do it for you.
Okay.
I got you.
Camera.
It is so sweet. Shout out to Donald, who I'd worked with before, who is the director for Zohran's video team. And I just feel like it's good. You're seeing already Democrats copy this style across the country. Even in this race, they were copying the style on social media.
The level of fun associated with the campaign contrasts so distinctly from the other candidates in the race.
Cuomo was like, yeah, it was built on darkness and like these, like the anti-Semitism stuff. It was,
defending the nation state of Israel, the most moral country on the planet. Who, I don't know why people don't talk about this enough. Andrew Cuomo is a part of the ICC legal team for Benjamin Netanyahu, which I always thought was so fascinating, so strange that like the media didn't even hyper focus on that one bit.
They barely mentioned it.
Yeah, that is like way more of a prominent fixture of what Andrew Cuomo is than the associations that the media was trying to desperately make with Zohran and his campaign about Israel. Like he never made Israel the centerpiece of his campaign. He was just hyper focusing on the policies the entire time. He asked people what they needed, what their necessities were, how to improve their lives, and he dialed in on a couple immediate, tangible solutions. And he was able to communicate that earnestly. And then people just kept repeating, like, "Well, you don't really love Israel enough." But it wasn't him who made it a centerpiece of his campaign. And I think that played a big role in this as well.
I mean, there's these assumptions about Jewish voters that I think a lot of people in the national press. I said this point on Chris Hayes the other night about the Netanyahu volunteering his services after Israel had already clearly been committing genocide, and it was for these ICC charges. And like, people are sick of this garbage. Their representatives representing purely and foregrounding foreign policy as opposed to something like a New York City mayoral race, which is a municipal race. And you're supposed to be talking about how you're going to make people's lives better. And there was, again, this assumption from the national press, because it's such a Jewish city, oh, they're all going to vote in one way, and this is my path forward. And I don't think enough is being said about the anti-Semitism that undergirds that assumption.
It's been, I mean, listen, every year you hear the Republicans, just even general election, presidential election, you'll hear that Jews are going to vote for the Republican because of the question of Israel, and it never happens, and it is yet to happen. I don't remember anything involving Israel in the last mayoral election in this city. And yeah, it's not just, it's the media, and it's also, look, there are people who drive that conversation, and that's what Cuomo and, you know, Chuck Schumer was out there again. Chuck Schumer's out there throughout, like, the vote on the budget, the other stuff is like, I went back to look at what his strategy was to deal with Donald Trump in February. And every interview he does, half of it is to promote his book on anti-Semitism and his tour. And I'm like, dude, do one thing. Stop the fascism. And then you can worry about, like, your book tour.
What a spectacular failure that his job was to, like, his self-identified job was to make the left pro-Israel.
100%.
And it's like now an 80-20 issue for the Democratic Party. So he just failed on that front as well.
It is stunning this is the implication of Mamdani winning and them turning this into some type of referendum on Israel when it wasn't. And it's not, and I still don't think it is. But by their logic, if he wins, it is going to set the parameters for Democrats across the country. It's not going to happen on the leadership level. It's, you know, where their AIPAC is playing in big dollars. But at one point, I mean, there was $30 million, $35 million dumped into this race. This is the beginning of the end of that dynamic in the Democratic Party. It may take 5 years, it may take 10 years, but it's happening. Here is this is Donald Trump with meeting with Bibi Netanyahu as they have a fascist off and decide how they're going to ethnically cleanse Gaza. Are they going to call it the Gaza Riviera? Are they going to allow any Palestinians to live in Gaza so that they can work at the Trump hotels? Whatever it is. Here is this number 4? Which clip is this?
I got him talking about Mamdani.
Yeah, let's start with that.
Okay.
Cities or on Democratic Socialists, the local critic of Israel and of yourself, and has said he would arrest you if you came to New York City if he was mayor. Is that something you take seriously, or are you concerned about that? Do you have a response to that?
No, I'm not concerned about that.
I'll get him out.
Look, there's enough craziness in the world, but I guess it never ends. I mean, you have this is folly. And it's it's silly in many ways because it's just not serious. But what is serious is the question I was asked before. You know, after October 7th, people said the Palestinians had a state, Hamas state in Gaza, and look what they did with it. They didn't build it up; they built down into bunkers, into terror tunnels. After which they massacred our people, raped our women, beheaded our men, invaded our cities and our towns. And our kibbutzim, and did horrendous massacres, the kind of which we didn't see since World War II and the Nazis, the Holocaust. So people aren't likely to say, let's just give them another state, it'll be a platform to destroying Israel. We'll work out a peace.
You talking
with
about
our
Zohran here?
neighbors, those who don't want to destroy us. And we'll work out a peace in which our security, the sovereign power of security, always remains in our hands. Now, people will say it's not a complete state, it's not a state, it's not that. We don't care. You know, we vow never again. Never again is now. It's not going to happen again.
So we'll see you in New York next year?
Oh, well, look, I'm going to come there with the President Trump, and we'll see how do you know who the mayor will be? I don't know that. Do we know that?
He's going to be very fine, and who knows, we don't know who the mayor's going to be yet, but this is a communist. He's not a socialist, he's a communist, and he said some really bad things about Jewish people, and he said some really bad things about a lot of people. And I think he's going through a little bit of a honeymoon right now, but he might make it. But, you know, it all comes through the White House. He needs the money through the White House. He needs a lot. He's going to behave. He'll behave. He better behave. Otherwise, he's going to have big problems. But it's a philosophy that this country is not ready for, and it never will be. By the way, we have a man with a...
a good follow-up question. What did he say about Jews?
Although that was less offensive than what Kirsten Gillibrand said, saying that he endorsed global jihad. So.
Yeah. I love that he's like, no, I'm going to underfund America's finance capital, the world's finance capital, because Zohran Mamdani might be mayor at the behest of Israel. You know,
I would hope that Mamdani would then shut off water to Trump Tower. That's what I would like to see happen. It is just incredibly twisted. But of course, you know, the question is brought up because that was made such a focal point of the mayor's campaign. I don't see how they, obviously they're going to complain about the city not being handing over immigrants. Why wouldn't you follow what the International Criminal Court says at that point?
Yeah, we want to get out these violent, dangerous immigrant criminals. I mean, who's a bigger violent, dangerous immigrant criminal than Benjamin Netanyahu? That's the real criminal.
Also, the level of explicitness now, sitting across from the president, it has been the policy of the United States, supposedly, of a two-state solution. I think that is, you know, a little absurd. We have a single state now in Israel. It's an apartheid state with varying degrees of apartheid. Some actually, you know, maybe even worse than apartheid, constant slaughter, more akin to the Warsaw Ghetto at this point. That there is no news associated with Netanyahu saying like that's off the table. That was, you know, supposedly a U.S. standing policy, and it's gone. It's not even, people don't even pretend anymore.
It shows the hollowness of liberal Zionism and how in practice for our government, the two-state solution thing was a biding time tactic, or at the very least a détente. And then for the actual reality for the state project of Israel, it's always been one state, but with like a lot less Palestinians. And we do that in a few different ways. It's also just like, I mean, because we're on the topic of it, I find it really upsetting to see how within the Democratic Party and within the context of this race, they're really trying to use right-wing, almost great replacement theory level politics about this city by conflating Zohran's Muslim identity with anti-Semitism or people's fear of him that is imbued with racism and their reaction to that and experiencing that as anti-Semitism and calling it anti-Semitism when it's really their own bigotry and trying to leverage that into a like heavily racialized attack on him. And I would include Cuomo's mispronunciation of his name, which is exactly, by the way, what the right did with Kamala Harris the entire election last time. It's a dog whistle. And they're doing this within the Democratic primary. And there's little to no leadership from national Democrats on this front calling out this like incredible racism. I mean, his life, his safety is in danger because of the abdication of Democratic leaders. I think.
For sure.
Yeah.
I also do find it odd that the Democratic Party for the past year, or at least like in the aftermath of the election, have run numerous studies at this point, spending tens of millions of dollars trying to figure out how to reach out to young men and how to mobilize the masses as they once were able to do. And then now you do actually have a
Joe Rogan of the left is Zohran Mamdani.
Yeah, you literally have an African socialist Muslim man this time around, like the real Obama.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, none of the liberals that would back him are out there defending him at all.
This is a moment where I think that may turn. Here is this is clip number 8. This is a video podcaster, Jennifer Welch. I mean, we saw her.
She's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, you've been on the show.
Yeah, she's been on my podcast before. I've had it, ladies.
She's pretty like normie coded. Yeah. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, they are from Oklahoma, and they definitely are definitely a lot more progressive than the average Democrat, but I know for a fact that the Democratic Party really wanted to use them as like this non-hostile space. I mean, they've interviewed Barack Obama, they've interviewed Hakeem Jeffries in the past,
and what's his face, the chief of staff for Obama,
Rahm Emanuel. Yeah. Oh yeah,
and Rahm Emanuel got eviscerated on there. And here she is on Hakeem Jeffries, that same issue.
I think our nominee is going to have to convince folks that he is prepared to aggressively address the rise in anti-Semitism in the city of New York, which has been an unacceptable development.
Okay. First of all, he has addressed the rise of anti-Semitism, and it's not performative. It's very, very real. And he understands that it's real, and he has the endorsement of other Jewish politicians that aren't propagandized by a corrupt Israeli government, Hakeem. But secondly, this was your moment, Hakeem, to also stand up against Islamophobia, because here's the thing about human rights, you guys. You don't get to cherry pick. If you're against anti-Semitism, then you have to be against Islamophobia, homophobia, racism, and down the line. Also class warfare, this bigotry towards poor people is just abhorrent, which disproportionately hurts people with the color of Hakeem Jeffries' skin. And so this kind of cherry picking, because of who donates to Hakeem Jeffries, AIPAC donates to Hakeem Jeffries. How on earth right now is the government of Israel helping calm and quell anti-Semitism? How are they doing it? They're not. They lie and they propagandize and they say, we get to do all this stuff with impunity. And then if you criticize us or you do anything wrong towards us or you speak out against us, then we're going to call you an anti-Semite. The people who preach against anti-Semitism should be joining Zohran Mamdani and standing up against the Islamophobic attacks on him. He has not said anything disparaging about Jewish people. He stands with them in solidarity. And this type of crap is so disgusting to me. And it is a cancer within the Democratic Party. And I'm just going to tell you guys something. We lost these last 2 elections to an idiot because of these centrist policies, and you're being beholden to special interests. And by God, it's not going to happen again. You can either be a part of the problem or a part of the solution. But if you want to try to box us in when we can clearly see with our eyes and clearly hear with our ears exactly what's happening with Israel and Gaza, and try to propagandize another way, we're not dumb like MAGA. We're not stupid. Your base is smarter, and y'all are going to have to adapt or get the out.
So Chuck Schumer doing a great job keeping the Democrats pro-Israel, huh?
The thing that is impressive is, I mean, that last part where she was saying, like who is Hakeem Jeffries actually delivering this stuff to?
Yep.
Like, every New Yorker has seen Brad Lander walking around. He's the highest elected Jewish official in New York City. Every New Yorker knows this. Anybody who's paid any attention to this election in the days before, whether it was on, Colbert's show or what, like, who is Hakeem Jeffries talking to? It's almost like they don't realize they are in a small, like, black box theater. That's the size of their audience now, as to who they're even communicating to. It is fascinating. They like, we need to reach across the, sort of the divide, and they keep talking to a smaller and smaller group of people.
Yeah. One thing I always get really frustrated by, because I think people on the left also have a tendency to do this, where they're like, oh, well, like, he has to address Israel because there's a lot of Jews in New York and they all care about Israel. And I feel like it's just like the dual loyalty trope, but like on a woke I guess on the woke side, it's like the woke dual loyalty trope. And my question always is like, New York City is the largest Jewish city on the planet. Sometimes Tel Aviv, I think, has a higher number of Jewish people living in it. But I think New York City is either the number one or number two largest Jewish city on the planet. It predates the invention of the state of Israel. Yep. Like, Jewish people here have stronger roots to the United States of America and New York City in particular, and Los Angeles as well, than they do to Israel as a nation state. Israel is an ethno-state. Zionism is an ethno-state project. They incentivize American Jews and Jews all around the world to go and live in Israel. So my question always is to these people that say, like, oh, Jews really care about Israel, that's all they care about. It's like, but these are American Jews. These are New Yorkers. If they cared about Israel that much, they would live in Israel.
Yep.
Like, they would just go and live there. There are tremendous incentives to go and live there. You actually get health care if you live in Israel, as a matter of fact. It is a comprehensive health care coverage that they can afford because they don't have to actually spend a dime on their defense, because we got that covered.
You get Palestinian land.
Yeah, you get free housing if you want, government subsidized housing in the West Bank if you want. Like, and yet so many Jewish people choose to live here and be American citizens and not be Israeli citizens in spite of all that. That, to me, is a clear indication that American Jews, just like American Muslims, just like American Christians, have American problems. And that's what they care about. They don't care about Israel to the degree in which people talk about it in the media.
Well, it's certainly, I mean, look, I think there is, based on my own experience, there is a learned attachment to Israel in relationship with Israel, as opposed to, say, like, I don't have the same relationship with Uganda.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if the Zionist project had landed in Uganda, which at one point was banding around, but I don't. But that is different from saying this is the premier issue that they vote upon or they act upon or they move through life with. It is also different from saying that Israel, that this relationship isn't complicated. And I think it's different for people who have like direct relatives there, obviously, in the same way that, like, you know, I grew up in Worcester. There was a lot of people, like, you know, when you talk about the IRA or stuff like that, people are just like, oh, F the British, you know, like, and I'm in Worcester.
They traffic guns. They directly traffic guns to the IRA.
Exactly. And
fundraise for the IRA in every bar. Right. There was a Republican congressperson.
100%. And so this is, you know, there are different dynamics at different eras. But the fact of the matter is that New York Jews didn't even for a moment, as a whole, you know, we're just talking in generalities in terms of the vast majority, this was not an issue for them at all. That's my point about the increasingly, when Hakeem Jeffries gets out there and says that, when Gillibrand says this, they are talking to literally a room full. It's the same people, frankly, who Carvel was talking about. I don't know if you caught that clip of Carvel.
Carvel.
Yeah, Carvel.
Carvel.
He says Carvel every time.
It's like an ice cream brand.
I have to pick and choose what I correct.
Exactly. He was on with, and I can't remember the guy. He was an old Al Hunt, and he said, "I go to these, you know, big Jewish donors of the Democratic Party. They tell me they don't want to, you know, give money because of Israel or whatever it is. It's really just the tax cuts, and it is." For a lot of these people, it is a proxy that allows them to avoid talking about what the real issue is, class issues. And they bring this up because it was a third rail, you know, type of deployment. And it is no longer resonating. It no longer resonates because of what people can see with their eyes in terms of the way that Israel has been, you know, engaged in this slaughter, genocide, ethnic cleansing. I think all three probably are appropriate, but pick them. Pick whatever one you feel comfortable with saying. And I think people are just like, I'm not going to, you know, make my determination who's going to be mayor of New York City, or frankly, even the president of the United States at the end of the day.
I just don't think it's a detriment in the way that these guys suggested it was for the longest time, and they even did in the lead up to the election. And that was, I guess, the reason why Kamala Harris could not actually chart a different trajectory for herself and like cut her off from the anchor that was the Joe Biden administration, even on this issue that was, again, 75-25% at that point.
Well, that's what's amazing is that CNN clip from the other day, they played over the course of 8 years.
Yeah.
The people on our campaign must have known that data.
Yeah.
And yet,
we covered it.
This is absolute malfeasance by that campaign, and it wasn't raised in that way. They talked about it in the context of Mamdani, but those numbers were not dramatically different 6 months ago, or 8 months ago, or 10 months ago.
Right.
And yet the campaign just said, we're not even going to allow this Palestinian lawmaker to speak at the convention when it was completely benign, everything she had to say.
Yeah, and it would have had reverberations beyond, I think, Israel-Palestine, because it would have shown everyone in America, there would be so much like secondary coverage on, wow, Kamala Harris is actually separating herself from Joe Biden on this issue, which would have been a great marketing opportunity. I literally advocated even for like from a bloodless, cold, cynical, calculated stance. If you don't care about the humanity of like charred children that we're facilitating the genocide of, the least you could do is like advocate on this because I don't want Donald Trump to win, and this way you can like separate yourself from Joe Biden, who was deeply unpopular. Everyone saw him as old, feeble, and monstrous, and simultaneously really win favors with a lot of people, because I think that the issue of Israel and your opinion on Israel, I think, is a way for politicians to communicate earnesty, because there's such a division between what the public feels about this versus what the media talks about, or how the media talks about this issue and how politicians talk about this issue. You can really cut away at that. And my fear always is that there are cynical actors, both on the media side like Tucker Carlson, or cynical actors on the political side like Marjorie Taylor Greene, that see that know how to read the room better than everybody else, and will utilize that to win favors with a broader audience.
And just to expand on that, it also indicates I am not a part of the establishment.
Yeah.
Democratic responsiveness.
It shows the responsiveness, it shows the inclusion, it shows breaking with Biden, but it is a proxy. The reason why Tucker Carlson or Marjorie Taylor Greene find efficacy in it is it shows that they're anti-establishment on some level, because again, they are only speaking to the establishment. Like Hakeem Jeffries is sitting on whatever Meet the Press saying Mamdani needs to deal with anti-Semitism. No one thinks that.
Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene may not be actually speaking to the Zionist donors that Carville was talking about there, because she is actually an anti-Semite. So she's not in the rooms that 95% of Republicans are in, and like 70% of Democrats are in. So when you ask, like, who is this for, when Hakeem Jeffries is doing this performance, it's for the Zionist donor base. And people can sense that. So when we're talking about it being like a proxy for other things, it is about showing democratic responsiveness. And also why it compounded things for Kamala was the fact that people felt alienated from the Democratic Party's lack of democratic responsiveness. When for basically since 2023, the polling showed that the Democratic voter base felt that Joe Biden was too old to run again, and they decided to ram him through without really any public debate or process on this front, which made people feel alienated from the Democratic Party. That's a huge problem, and it's not just a problem of Joe Biden. It's a problem, as we're seeing structurally with the party, where they can't conceive of a working class politics that shows direct responsiveness to people. The only people that the people they're most directly responsive to are donors, and then if they see polling shift enough for them, then they'll decide to lead. The immigration stuff, Trump, his numbers tanking on that front, we can't thank Democrats for that at all, except for maybe Chris Van Hollen and a few, and of course the members of the squad and the left wing members. But that's all what he did on his own. And the Democrats could have been the like the yin to that yang. They could have shown an alternative vision, and now it's just like, oh, he's unpopular in a vacuum and people feel nihilistic, which is what he thrives on in the end, and this movement thrives on in the end.
It's strange to watch them like kind of get reminded that they're supposed to be anti-austerity. Yeah. Like it almost like every single day since the Trump administration began, they have been actively signaling that they're going to cut all of these federal jobs. They're going to cut these regulatory agencies, and at a time when there's like, you know, planes falling out of the sky, it's like a perfect opportunity to really drive home this point that like these jobs need to exist. You and your billionaire buddies are just like cutting these federal jobs that are like decently paying jobs for a lot of Americans, you know, tens of millions of Americans. And also these are services that they rely on. And there was no communication from the Democratic Party in the first couple of months. And even now you have this horrifying, disastrous bill. It's one of the most unpopular bills that has passed since we began tracking the popularity of bills that are passing. And it's unpopular in spite of the Democratic Party's positioning on this, because they were able to push it through this expedited process, just like they did the last Trump tax cuts in 2017. And the less time is spent on the gridlock aspect of Congress, the less time there is to communicate all of the awful things that are in this bill to make the bill less popular. The alternative to this is, of course, like the ACA, that the Republicans were able to stop at every step of the way and simply lie about the things that were in the bill, like death panels, if you remember, which made it deeply unpopular by the time of its passage. And the Democrats didn't do anything until after the fact, and until the last hour when Hakeem Jeffries decided to do the Cory Booker thing.
There was a missed opportunity to vote against that budget. You go back and you look at what Chuck Schumer was saying, like they could shut down Medicaid. Well, I got some very bad news for you for what's happened. They have shut down Medicaid. Yeah. And having to have, forcing them to have shut down Medicaid 4 months ago, for however long they could sustain that, would have inhibited this passage of this bill. They also could not address the increase in ICE because they've been so bad on immigration. They have no immigration policy to fight this, so they couldn't get out there and go like, we're going to turn this place into a police state with $300 billion for ICE. They could not do that because they've been wrapped up. I mean, the leadership, I will say this. When I first got into this in 2004, there was like a sense of, you know, the net roots, you know, the blogosphere. There was a sense that within a certain, you know, quadrant of the Democratic activist base, there was a divide between the leadership and the party. But I really feel like the divide between the leadership and just your average Democratic voter is far more pronounced today than at any time that I've been, you know, conscious of politics. Maybe 1968 was different, but maybe not. But if you look at the way that voting Democrats have perceive, you know, what they want from their leaders. 20 years ago, Democrats, by a 60 to 40 margin, maybe even greater, wanted compromise. And they have learned over the past 2 decades, that's not going to work. Yeah. That's why Build Back Better failed, because Joe Biden decided, instead of following up on the American Rescue Act, I'm going to let the Republicans come in, and that killed 4 months. Then I'm going to let Sinema and Portman come in, and that destroyed the bill. I mean, it was over by that point. That's when, you know, the donors caught up with the Manchin.
Trump rammed it through. He rushed it.
It's exactly what you need to do.
One of the things I brought up in the immediate aftermath of the election to the Pod Johns was exactly this. I was like, there were so many opportunities for Biden, if he actually had the ambition, to like whip these votes, right? Because we look at Donald Trump and we see like a silly man, a fascist, but like a goofy, stupid person. But he obviously commands the party. He has completely changed the trajectory of American politics in general. He has completely redesigned it in his own image. And outside of that, he also is capable of getting these votes, getting these people to vote on whatever bill he wants them to. And he will resort to dirtier tricks if necessary. And I think there is this forgotten aspect of the bully pulpit that Democratic leadership never uses to whip votes to get people in line. There is obviously like threatening to remove people from committee positions if they don't play ball on these bills.
But we have seniority for or Democrats have seniority for committees, and that's part of the problem because they can't use that threat in the same way. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying like we need. I've been screaming about this for years, but I'm happy to report that yes, like you said, there are more and more liberals that you would never expect, like white wine moms in the middle of the country that also want a more combative Democratic Party. Like the next Democratic Party has to be combative and outwardly hostile to the Republicans in the same exact way that the Republicans have been successfully against the Democrats for the past multiple decades.
But well, how about this? This is a prime example. Where are the Democrats that are immediately tying Project 2025 and the Doge cuts to the horrible tragedy that we're seeing in Texas? I saw Hakeem Jeffries' statement was like thoughts and prayers. Oh, we don't want to politicize this. Oh, really? In the age of Trump, you don't want to politicize it? He just said on stage, I hate Democrats. They hate me and I hate them. Could you, like, the just complete flaccid nature of this party is just enabling this right now. And it's also for their own ends of wanting power in the midterms, which they do care about, even if they're ineffectual at it. That they're not doing the partisanship that is required for this moment.
No, they just simply don't. They're just not up to the moment. I
mean, they did a better job in 2016.
Yes.
And I would argue that Trump was not as efficient in 2016. I would argue, I would argue that what they were facing was less difficult.
Yes.
Frankly, but no one will take the difference between year one of Trump and year one of Biden. Trump gets that budget bill passed at the beginning of the year. It is the equivalent of the American Rescue Act. And then he gets this done by July. When the American Rescue Act passed, the only thing Republicans were talking about was Dr. Seuss, was 3 books that were not republished by Dr. Seuss. They should have gone right in. Joe Manchin was talking that Build Back Better at that time should be $9 trillion. He was spending more than Bernie. And then as Biden dilly-dallies on some type of bipartisanship, there was that leaked audio in June of Joe Manchin with the no labels people. And that's when they started to get to him and say like, no. This is the other path that you can take. And that's where it all goes south. And here we are, July, 3rd, and Trump's done. And he knows he's done. They understood this dynamic. You take the power when you have it. It's not going to last 6 months. There's no more, 100 days or whatever it is, first year honeymoon. And now I want to play this clip. I mean, this is how emboldened they are. This is the Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins. And this sort of combines their two basic things. One is let's try and get rid of all low-income people by attrition. We also can get rid of any immigrants.
But I can't underscore enough, there will be no amnesty. The mass deportations continue, but in a strategic way, and we move the workforce towards automation and 100% American participation, which again, with 34 million people, able-bodied adults on Medicaid, we should be able to do that fairly quickly. Thank you.
Okay, she's talking about what's going to happen to that. There's not going to be, the farm workers are going to get rounded up, and that we have 34 million. I think what she's talking about, I think that 34 million is probably the number of adults on Medicaid.
It's around 40 million adults on Medicaid between 19 and 64, I think.
And I think her argument is they can get into the fields.
They can pawn that Medicaid card.
Now, incidentally, they can move to the rural areas where they can get into the fields. There won't be any hospitals there, incidentally, because we're going to be rolling up 200 of them. I mean, this is...
Also, 2/3 of them already have a job.
Exactly.
So there's also that reality.
And then the other third is like if they're in school, taking care of an elderly family member, and it's like somewhere in the single digits in terms of people who don't have a listed excuse. So all of those people, congratulations, you're headed to become a farmer now.
I mean, the idea that a government official, a cabinet secretary, could say something to that effect, and there's no the Democrats aren't in a position, and I think it's because they have no immigration policy, that it's been completely eviscerated by their backtracking and this and that, and you know the bill that Joe Biden was supposed to pass and Donald Trump kept from going in there. I mean, they saw it coming. They chose the absolute wrong policy response. Aside from, I think there is some genuine hostility towards immigrants that was in that Biden administration.
100%. I think he came in with the first 100 days that was the exact opposite, the diametrical opposite legislative agenda of Donald Trump in 2020. And then I think it was around February, because I remember covering this extensively in the beginning. I think it was like February or April when the Customs and Border Patrol was whipping the Haitian migrants at the Texas border with their reins on horseback. And from that point on, the Biden administration just completely dropped the ball on immigration. They completely dropped the ball on it. And there was a amnesty, like a conditional amnesty program associated with the first 100 days, you know, closing the childhood, stopping the childhood separation policy and closing like these immigration detention facilities, which they basically restructured to call, I think, overfill centers or something like that, where like they were doing family overfill centers. So it was basically the same thing, but with like a Democrat liberal patina associated with it. And I remember at the time screaming about this because I said over and over again that this is going to be the issue that the Republicans use, as they have historically, and they know it. The Democrats know it. So if they don't start counter messaging against this right now and don't put out like a comprehensive pro-immigrant agenda, that the media is going to go along with the hostility towards migrants, and the entire discourse will be flooded, dominated by right-wing hysteria, because it is hysteria. It's not real. This is not a real problem. Immigration is a crisis only because we do not go through the expeditious paper filling process. That's it. Because the difference between a documented and undocumented non-citizen is documentation. And they didn't do any of that. And it was a devastating failure. And by the time the election cycle came around, this was October 6, 2023, right before October 7, is when they unveiled the Trump is right, actually. We want to build the border wall package that the Oklahoma senator had written.
And if I remember correctly, that was supposed to be a sweetener for the rest of like an economic package. And what happened is that part became the sole aspect of it, as all the sort of the Build Back Better stuff fell away. That was part of the Cinema Portman thing, I think. It's like a sweetener in there. And then all of a sudden it became the main thing. I mean, it was just like a tremendous amount of just political malpractice. And this idea that like we look at the polling and polling is static is absurd. We have seen this dramatic change over the course of 8 years with Israel. I mean, it's not like you have multi-generations dying off here. People change in their perspective. We've seen the change in perspective in immigration from Trump, in Trump to Biden. We saw a huge change in immigration. These things move. They are flexible, but if you chase after where the Republicans are going, which is always the case, you're always going to be behind it. You're not going to get out in front of them. You're not going to say, okay, well, instead of deporting, what we should do is shoot all immigrants. I mean, that you're always going to be chasing them, and you're not. It's just it's a fool's errand.
You look like you're lying when that happens. After spending 8 years saying like the border wall is racist and it's silly, to turn around and be like, actually, we want to build a border wall, and the Trump administration is not serious about building the border wall. If you think that that is going to be a message that ends up bringing some of these like white nativists on board with the Democratic Party's agenda, you're out of your freaking mind. The only thing that it does is make your base of support go in the direction of the Republican Party, because it's a basic admission that, yeah, the Republicans were right. Migrants are a national security problem, and therefore maybe I'm going to go with the guy who was right all along rather than the Democrats now.
Right. Or I'm going to stay home, which is the other thing that doesn't get discussed enough. It's like when you saw that IMEU analysis, that the plurality opinion for people in terms of who stayed home, they were not motivated to go out because of Gaza, because of her stance on that. But I think it all has a compounding effect where, okay, I can't vote for this person, I don't like either, and I'm just going to stick around. And that's who Zohran interviewed right after the race, and that's what prompted this historic run for him to win this primary. And those are the voters we should be focusing on. Like, this strategy of just picking and choosing issues based on how they poll at a current moment, as you say, Sam, as if like the polling is static and that leadership can't change things. It's the anti-politics. It's like, because the Democrats just want to get in power so they can be a concierge like Schumer, or so that they can craft legislation and do the good work of keeping the budget going every year or whatever, where it's like, do you want to do politics? Do you believe in something other than getting into power? People smell that, and that's why the Democratic Party has a lower approval rating than Donald Trump. Anyway, fun times.
Yeah. Speaking of fun times, should we look at
I'm gonna pee real quick, but I know exactly this video. I've already watched it, so don't worry.
All right, we're gonna play this. Well,
maybe read some IMs.
Oh yeah, we'll read some IMs. Vigeland. A lot of people on Medicaid are permanently disabled and completely unable to work. That's why we can't live without publicly funded health care, and why so many are going to die as a result of this awful bill that Democrats did absolutely nothing to prevent. Dave from Jamaica. In the past, they tried prison labor to work the fields. Didn't work. This is skilled labor. Sam, I'm going to need you to pause and do an obligatory poggers. Please and thank you. Folks, poggers. Poggers. Scary Mountain Wizard. For my whole 39 years of life, I have watched the Dems capitulate to the GOP over and over again. It's simplistic to think that they're the same, but it really keeps looking like both parties serve money and power, and one just timidly waves a rainbow. I mean, I think that's a slight oversimplification, but without a doubt, the moneyed interests prevent them from being a successful party. I mean, look, and we can wait for Hasan to come back for this, but when we look at Zohran Mamdani's policies, we're basically talking about a FDR Democrat. I mean, none of these policies are particularly, radical in any shape or form. Fiorella LaGuardia did a lot more socialistic things than Mamdani has at this point suggested. So it's sort of ridiculous. Miss Kitty, please read this. Hasan has major BDE. What does that mean?
Don't worry about it, Sam.
All right.
All right.
Should I have not said anything?
Hared. Well,
There's a mistake.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
All right. We should. You don't have to come back. We've kept you long enough.
No,
I just IM'd. All right.
How long are you
It's
guys
2
gonna go
o'clock.
today?
Oh, you were planning to leave by 2?
Yeah, but it's all
I didn't
good.
know that.
It's fine. You want to promote your show?
Are folks familiar with your show?
Yeah, I have a show myself. Sometimes I talk about politics on there. It's twitch.tv/HasanAbi.
What is that? A snooze?
Is that a Zin?
This is in.
What is this?
In my Trump Zintin.
I don't know what that means.
Nicotine.
Oh, okay.
I tried one of those one time.
It's like a snooze, right?
Yeah, but no tobacco.
Oh,
yeah.
Just the nicotine.
It's just pure nicotine.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Yeah, and I was gifted this Trump assassination attempt Zintin. It's my most prized possession.
But you got the you got the shot where it's clearly failed.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, yeah, that's.
Are you a part of like the liberal conspiracism about that being a fake shooting? There's
I love that.
Me too. I love looking into like.
I love Blue Anon.
Blue Anon, and then also that the election was stolen. They were also kind of convinced of that. I don't know what that's about.
The election stolen thing is happening. There's a Rockland County lawsuit.
Okay.
And there's the theory is around the drop-off votes between all the the down ballot things were voted, and a lot of people left it blank up above. I mean, look, you look at those numbers about Israel and Palestine, and you look at the absolute refusal of Harris to indicate that she's going to do a different policy, because most people don't know who Gordon was. And that there was going to, that she had a different foreign policy. I mean, nobody knows that.
Yeah.
And Philip Gordon, nobody knows who I'm talking about. And the failure to indicate that was ridiculous. But let's play this. Let's play this Alex Jones. You tell me what your thoughts are.
I hope this gets the Blue Anon guys going too, like into calling everybody a pedophile, in the Republican Party at least.
I mean. It really does raise some questions.
Yeah.
It would be irresponsible not to speculate.
Yeah, pedocon theory is not, it's like a theory as the theory of gravity is a theory.
All of it. So now by coming in and being part of the cover-up, the Trump administration has become part of it. I mean, it's just, you cannot see it any other way. So I just got to the office. I'm going to go throw up, actually. It only happens every few years when something really, really bad happens or something. I mean, I'm physically going to puke probably right now.
Oh.
My mouth is watering right now. because I have integrity. And
I'll tell you something right now. Look at, I'm going to try and cry. One of the ways I try and cry is I get the sweat that drips off my forehead into my eyes, and I do that by doing this.
Okay, so I watched this whole video yesterday, and let me tell you, first, one of my favorite things that Alex Jones does is he drives on the Texas highway, usually going 25 miles an hour, because there are cars passing him both on the left and the right, which I always find very strange. So he's not even on the rightmost lane.
In a Honda Element.
I like to drive in the middle.
Yeah, and it's not a self-driving car, and this is important, because he films himself while driving and talking, and he uses his hand while he's filming himself with one hand, as in no hand is touching the steering wheel the entire time when he's communicating. Right now he's parked, but in the beginning of this video he actually does drive to the parking lot. Another thing that I love that Alex Jones does.
Why is he doing that?
I have no idea.
Look at the lighting.
But he will swap hands to use not to grab the steering wheel. He'll swap hands on the camera to change the camera to use his other hand to speak from time to time. And I mean, that man is a menace on the roads of Texas. I'm surprised that he hasn't gotten into a car accident already.
He looks like he's aged. This has been difficult for him.
Well, I mean, I think he's doing Ozempic because I can see his neck now, and it's weird. It's weird to be able to see his neck. Like there was, I was reading the comments of my last video because I commented on this. I did a video on this, and people were like, "I didn't realize this was Alex Jones until you pointed it out." Like that's what people were saying.
It really does. He looks different. Let's and he also looks like he might. There's like
might be on the verge of tears.
He's got a little bit of like a stroke thing going on with his lip. Seems as I mean maybe listen. I came from the dentist the other day to do an interview, and I had a lot of Novocaine.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to and give him some wide berth here. But go ahead.
Because
I gotta squeeze out.
I have integrity.
Bad audition.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I just really need the Trump administration to succeed and to save this country, and they're doing so much good. And then for them to do something like this tears my guts out. And, you know, the left, they're all complicit. They're open.
Oh, yeah.
We know they're pure evil. And they all think it's all funny. Oh, look, Alex is sad. MAGA's tearing yourself apart. Your globalist masters literally want you to eat bugs and live in a 5G, 200 square foot coffin apartment.
What?
Look at the left. Look at them all posing with their Pfizer shots, looking like dead zombies. I mean, come on. You guys are sick.
As opposed to Alex Jones, beacon of
You
health.
shouldn't look at those of us that have a soul still and have integrity in pain over this and celebrate, you dumb pieces of shit.
Okay, the funniest part about this,
your own self.
the funniest part about this is that in the beginning, because this is the end of this commentary,
Yes.
this car rant, which, by the way, Alex Jones being a car rant guy is kind of sad. I mean, it's a little bit of a fall off from like being the most important media member in the right. Years and years of integrity. His cope for the Jeffrey Epstein files, the client list not being released, and the very clear attempts at like trying to pack this up by Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, both QAnon guys, right? And Pam Bondi, who was also a prosecutor in the state of Florida.
Attorney General, yeah.
Attorney General in the state of Florida during the Epstein stuff from 2011 to 2019, interestingly, just like Alexander Acosta, Trump's former labor secretary, was
Alan
the...
Dershowitz represented both Epstein and Trump.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. A lot of connections there with Jeffrey Epstein, but Alex Jones's cope for all of this, the no revelation, after making this like a signature part of his career for understandable reasons, was Trump's attending to blackmail the blackmailers with the blackmail. He's taken down the deep state. That's the only reason why he won't release these files. He's using the blackmail, the pedophile blackmail, against the deep state right now. That's what he's saying.
It's like the end times people who like just, you know, they did the math wrong, right? When everybody said the world was going to end. It's just there's always a new layer to this. It's funny too, like Trump is both the strong man but also always the victim of everybody around him in
deep
like
state.
the right-wing circles. Like
I think the problem for Jones is this has ended. This was my meal ticket for almost a decade, and I was relying on at least 2 or 3 more years of this.
I think like,
how am I going to? I need to raise money. I need to raise money badly.
President Trump, throw me a bone. Why won't you throw me a bone? Just say like Hillary Clinton's a pedophile or something.
I needed the fund to get to Mexico, where I was hoping to hide out with the money that I've scuttled away.
You know, he's a like, you know how like the law enforcement will turn informants in the mafia when they're in like a desperate situation or that kind of thing. The FBI and the CIA and the deep state gotta reach out to Alex Jones.
If
they haven't already.
I'm sorry if you don't.
You're pure evil. Even
I don't think they haven't already.
That.
I think
I'm naive.
no. I think Alex Jones has been a government operative.
Oh, that's what I used to say. It was like if Alex Jones didn't exist, the CIA would invent him. Just because how else can you channel people's political energy down a complete wormhole? Now, essentially, it's like a self-licking ice cream cone. They don't need to seed it anymore. It's a whole like industry.
I think the role he played for years and years was like the one truthful thing that he would speak on, packaged in between like lizard people conspiracies to make the one truthful conspiracy seem also ridiculous. Because like, why are you going to trust the interdimensional vampire guy when he says that there are, you know, mass government surveillance operations taking place? It might have been a broken clock situation, or it might have been a deliberate attempt by some agents that were feeding him reliable information every now and then, and then feeding him a whole bunch of nonsensical bullshit. So either he was like a willing participant or an unwilling actor here. But I think the role that he played in American political discourse remains one of major worth, at least in the beginning, for the intelligence community.
He had a moment that I see as analogous to I don't know what that crackling is. But he had a moment. There was a moment where Tucker Carlson was on C-SPAN in 2000 talking about Bill O'Reilly, and he had written a book, and he was like, Bill O'Reilly's populism is fake, and it's not going to last. He's going to get some stewardess is going to say he's going to yell at some stewardess, and the whole thing is going to fall apart. And I think Tucker Carlson realized over the years, like, no, it didn't. And when he got into Bill O'Reilly's slot, he pretended like he was the everyman. And there's a similar clip of Alex Jones talking about David Icke, who a British guy who came up with all the changeling lizard people stuff. And he said, he's the turd in the punch bowl while I'm giving real information, back in the day.
Yeah.
And I think Alex Jones realized at one point, like, actually, no, I can
be the turd in the punch bowl.
I can be the turd in the punch bowl
Yeah.
and do much better. And that, I think, is, where it landed him. He just got caught, essentially.
But I do think that like conspiracy theories play a really important role in political discourse in perpetuity. It's not like a new phenomena.
John Birch Society.
And absolutely. And the reason why, I mean, we're seeing it in popular discourse now. It's never been as we've never been as conspiratorial as we are now, for sure.
That's because I think of tech.
Yeah. That definitely, social media plays a major role in it. But the reason why it plays a formative role is because it's a byproduct of liberalism. If the world in this like spiritual idealized version is built around the good bad dynamic, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, instead of an underlying materialist analysis for how history is moving, then you ultimately have to find villains. And those villains have to be, shadowy figures that are in cigar smoke-filled rooms, and like backdoor deals that are moving society in a direction for pure evil, rather than doing it in broad daylight through class interests that they express with regular frequency, with no pushback whatsoever. And I think that's the reason why liberalism needs a perfect bow to basically wrap this ordeal around. And that's why so many people find themselves swept away with conspiracy theories, because they have no like real way of looking at the world and analyzing the events that unfold in a way that I think the chattel slavery system required some kind of different reasoning for why black people could be enslaved, because if they convert to Christianity, you can't enslave them because the Bible says you can't enslave Christians. So then racial dynamics come into play, where black people are considered a second-class citizen, or not even a citizen at all, not humans at all, in an effort to justify slavery, chattel slavery. And then what came out of that? Scientific racism, the debunked science of phrenology, and eugenicists, right? That was a way to logically wrap everything up in this neat little logical system. If they're actually scientifically found to be not human, then it justifies all of the untold amounts of cruelty that slavers could do to black people.
I mean, we see that today with trans folk. I mean, that is it's a similar project, right? I mean, to label trans people as, psychologically broken or some type of defect, then the logic follows from that. So is your argument that liberalism is so moralistic that it creates it takes it out of the material realm and makes it just a question of good or bad, or some type of like
liberalism mystifies class dynamics deliberately in an attempt to justify its existence. And because it's the monoculture, both Republicans and Democrats alike exhibit liberal tendencies. And ultimately, if you want like a completely if you want like a full moral system surrounding liberalism, you have to inevitably arrive at like villains in society. And those villains are always, usually they're Jewish people. That's usually what it points to, like lizard people, which is an analog. But I think it's a necessity for people that are seeking out like why the systems exist in the ways that they do. They're like, I want to scratch the surface of this information. I want I want to find out exactly why, life seemingly keeps getting worse and worse. And when people are desperate and they are completely shut off from this alternative way of looking at it, from looking at it even from the basis of like sociological experiments or looking at it from the basis of dialectical materialism, they inevitably arrive at this fantastic narrative of good, bad people.
Right.
And they find themselves swept away with conspiracies.
It's individualism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Well.
What? Oh, you gotta
Well,
go.
I mean, I don't know. I just
You gotta go?
I thought
You
he was
gotta
gonna
go?
leave
You
at
can keep
2.
How long are you guys planning on
To
going?
2:30, but
Okay, I'll stay here.
all right.
We're gonna have
I-
13 minutes.
I try to be polite, and
No,
Sam
it's all good.
Sam
Oh,
doesn't
I don't
care
give a
about
shit.
that. Yeah.
No, it's all good. I'm not always in New York, so it's all good.
Have you ever seen Patrick Bet David's show?
It's my favorite. Also, if he's watching, because I know you've been on it, and Cenk has been on it as well. Patrick, he won't have me on. I don't know why.
He won't?
I mean, I don't know. He's never like refused, but I have like replied to one of his tweets asking like, who should be my next guest? And I was like,
I've been on twice. I don't know why he doesn't have you on.
I don't know. I love you, Patrick. I'm
here's the
a
thing,
big fan.
is that I think after the first time I was on, he said he got more emails angry at him for having me on than any other guest. And I feel like if you went on, it would be it would even drum up more.
Yeah.
More clicks.
Listen, I know that Vinny and Adam at least are going to watch this. I mean, Adam will.
Vinny hates me.
Vinny, I don't think we'll be able to. But let's play this clip. I mean, because Vinny, I think is really he does. I think he really doesn't like me.
He doesn't like me either. I did the Piers Morgan thing with him where he like got really red because he was so angry. He was like, "You're a rich, spoiled kid, fake socialist." I was like, "Vinny, I love you. I don't want you to die. Like you're getting really red."
Quick trigger.
I sat next to him, and he also, you know what he also has a problem with is volume, control of volume.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had to turn like his thing way down. He was sitting next to me. He was screaming.
Yeah.
He was getting very, very animated.
But here, I've seen this video as well. He's gonna do a number on this one.
Here is Vinny and Adam having a debate over the Epstein client list.
We are built on pedophilia and blackmailing the most powerful
What do you
people.
mean we are built? Define that. Do you mean our entire country, our entire government, our entire FBI, CIA?
I'm saying this. Whoever.
Well, this is one little operation that they don't want to expose.
Whoever he was working for, Epstein, Mossad, CIA, everything. Apparently, the most powerful people on the world were flying to an island and having sex with underage kids because she said it. There's tens of thousands of hours of them doing it. If we're built on that and the most powerful people that are running the show are in charge, the guys telling Cash Patel, the thing that you just read, shut up. Shut up about it. Hold on, you know who I am. He knows who I am. I want accountability for everybody. If it's Trump, if it's Bill Gates, if it's Bill Clinton, I don't care. If it's the president of anything. Expose them because, Adam, the truth has to come out.
Okay, so I only have one question for you,
yes,
my dear friend. I agree with you, but at what price?
Take a deep breath.
But hold on, hear me out.
What price?
At what price?
At any price, Adam.
So you're saying to expose whatever happened on Epstein Island, you're willing to do whatever this looks like.
Yes.
Tear down the government, expose all the secrets, put America
Pause it for a
basically
second.
in
Now it
harm's way.
seems like I don't want to be siding with Vinny here.
Yeah. No, I do. That's why I love him.
But it seems like Adam is suggesting that if this list comes out, our government's going to fall.
Yeah.
And that would imply that Donald Trump is on that list.
Yeah.
Like in a big
Christine
way.
Pelosi, remember that when she said some of our faves are going to be implicated?
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi's daughter tweeted that out.
Yep.
When initially, when this stuff was coming out like many, many years ago, and she's like, listen, some of our faves are going to be implicated in this, and that's okay. And that's basically what Vinny is saying. And I love that. Vinny is right.
Vinny is right in this instance. Now, I know there's a lot of people going like, well, maybe Adam's Mossad himself. Maybe Adam is trying to run interference.
He would. I mean, if Adam is Mossad, then they've also
they're
incurred.
brilliant.
They've also incurred in shitification similar to the CIA.
Exactly. Go ahead. Keep playing this.
expose all the secrets, put America basically in harm's way, just to find out what's up.
What do you mean, Adam?
Because these are the most powerful people in the world.
Yeah.
They're apparently on this island.
Adam, so let the truth be told or the heavens fall. I don't care. Yeah, Adam, and that's
My
what Vincent
goat.
Oshana is. I am 100% accountability, and I don't give a if Adam. If that's what we were built
but at
on,
what price?
I don't
At
give a shit.
tearing
There's
down
no
America?
price. Guess what the price is, Adam? God.
So
God's
you want
the price.
to
God's answer
rule a city of ashes?
I don't give a shit if it's built on pedophilia and raping kids. Yes, because
you're being emotional.
No, I'm not. I'm being
You have
real.
to understand.
Oh, he did the Tim Pool thing. He did the
There
Tim
might be an
Pool
issue.
thing.
But you want to cut your whole nose off and ruin your entire face because you care that much about this
Adam,
entire
if
issue.
the machine is running right now,
Can you pause it for a
because
second?
Pedophiles.
I'm sorry, but he has spent the last 3 minutes being like, pedophilia, is it worth really getting this upset and emotional over sex trafficking of minors that I also admit our elites are partaking in? Is it really that big of a deal? Can you calm down about this? It's like, how did this happen?
Yo,
Well, also, this is relatively calm for Vinny. I mean, I don't see any veins popping out of his head.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, this is the first
This
time.
is how
you're
he
gonna
orders
say,
his
like,
coffee in the
this
morning.
Exactly. Keep going. This is pretty funny.
Running the show, and they're telling him, shut the hell up because we're all pedophiles. Knock it down. And my last thing, pal, what bothered me about what he said is, we're not going to re-victimize the girls and the victims. We're not going to do it.
Cash?
Yes, yeah, Cash. Guess what? Nobody wants to see any girl. I don't want to see any kids, male, boy, underage. Blur them out. But who's the guy that's touching them? Who's the guy that's molesting them and raping them? This is a horrible argument. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't.
Look at Patrick. My goat. I am value-tained once again.
That was the most genuine smile I've ever seen from him.
Patrick's got a 100% guarantee. You will be value-tained.
Oh. Are you not value-tained?
I am so
Are
value-tained.
you not value-tained?
Oh, God. I love him.
Apparently, let's play this clip of Trump.
This just happened. So Trump was asked at the White House about this, and apparently he got
Trump was asked about Epstein.
About
And
Epstein.
of course, Trump said Zohran's an anti-Semite.
No, well, I mean,
Yeah.
but we
Yeah,
also
what does
have
he
to
say?
be
Let's
fair
watch
to here with Trump. Like, he is a very sensitive guy, and he wants to be, respectful to all victims of all kinds.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things.
Oh, my
Are
God.
people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question.
Don't
about
answer. Wait a
Epstein
second.
At a
Hold
time
on.
like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Oh, a desecration!
I'll tell you
Oh.
something. Donald Trump being morally righteous, I don't think that's his go-to.
How dare you?
As you know, Trump loves staying on message. Like when he has leaders of foreign nations sit there as he talks about like Joe Biden shitting in his diapers or something. Like he loves, he never strays off message. He never goes into different topics. So clearly that's what he's doing here as well. Very consistent.
This is the first, we talk about, oh, MAGA's gonna break off if they do, if he breaks this campaign promise, which he lied from one day to the next about what it was gonna be. But this is the first time I've actually seen some people in the base start to get genuinely pissed with Trump. And
Yeah.
it seems like that's what is making him upset, because that's all he consumes. He's not in touch with public opinion. He's not in touch with how generally people view him. He's in touch with how the base views him, and it's a case study. Again, for Democrats, serve your base, a lot of the rest will follow. But this is what is going to be an issue for him. I don't think this is going to go away fully.
That is, it is fascinating to see Trump attempt to get just indignant. Like, how could you bring up something so unserious at this time?
So insensitive.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I like the prisoners of war who don't get captured.
It's fascinating. I think it is indication that he is worried about it, but it's probably going to be gone in a week.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, All right, couple of IMs and we'll get out of here. Sam, you should have Jeffries on the show and ask him a question. Who is your audience? I wanted to take phone calls with you, but we don't have time for that. We don't have time. All right, I got to let you go. So I know you got to get out of here, right? Or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got a show to do, don't you?
Yeah. I got a whole day mapped out.
Well, 5 IMs and we'll get out of here. Sam, please be careful. This Hasan guy was almost anti-Semite of the year.
That's true. And second up, runner up.
Did you? Is that
yeah,
true?
I lost
Did
it.
the
I
ADL
lost
put
it.
out a list?
No, it wasn't the ADL. It was the crazy Long Island lady, stopantisemitism.org.
Oh, she's from Long Island?
Yeah.
That's not shocking.
It's not Libs of TikTok. Is she the same person?
No, that's Haya Rychik. That's she's in LA. Yeah. And
So you came in second to whom?
Candace Owens.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. That's like it's one of those years where they were like, well, we'll go with the black woman.
Or we'll do the tiebreak and give it to the person that said Hitler had, his biggest problem was moving beyond the borders of Germany.
Yeah,
Who got into the third? Who's third?
Greta Thunberg.
Oh, all right. Well, that's fair. I mean, there's certain diversity that they're trying to do
The
there.
3 horsemen of the
Yeah.
apocalypse.
Jonathan Greenblatt has actually said compared me to Kanye West on, I think it was Time magazine.
But I've seen him bring you up. He's a lunatic.
Yeah, he really
He's
does
an
not like
effing
me.
asshole and a total lunatic. And the biggest teachers union in the country, I think, has basically
Yeah.
disavowed the ADL.
Yes, I have this open here. Right. Labor Notes reported last night that the National Education Association, the biggest 3 million member teachers union, voted to reject the ADL, Anti-Defamation League, and said, like Wikipedia, which I think did this 6 months ago, they're not a credible source for anti-Semitism.
That's awesome. It is, the more reputable organizations and people, for that matter, essentially call out and distance themselves from the ADL, regardless of what the Anti-Defamation League started as or in your mind ever was. It is clearly now just a right-wing mouthpiece that is running interference for Donald Trump and for the Netanyahu government. I mean, regardless of anything else they say, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, no, that's their primary focus, because there is an explosion of anti-Semitism, and part of that is because of the false conflation between Judaism and Zionism. Actions of Israel and Jews all around the world. That's a dangerous conflation, as you noted.
I had a conversation with your friend about that.
Yeah, my friend. But beyond that, there's also an explosion of the anti-Semitism on Twitter. But Twitter is owned by Elon Musk, and Elon Musk was a major Trump booster. And Elon Musk also, after highlighting the great replacement theory, claiming that Jews were doing unlimited third world migration into Western civilization, turned around and went to Auschwitz with Ben Shapiro, and then went to Israel and is unconditionally pro-Israel. So obviously, you can't really criticize Elon Musk even when he does a double Sig Heil at the inauguration, because or even criticize Elon Musk for the unlimited anti-Semitism that exists on Twitter, because he's pro-Israel.
Yep.
If your goal is to defend Israel, if you're the Apartheid Defense League, then you're just not going to go after people like that, and you're going to at most do light criticisms of Donald Trump when he comes out and is like these Shylocks.
The ADL, I wanted to look it up. They did end up denouncing it, but probably because Biden used it in 2014.
Yeah.
And so they denounced it then too. So.
Yeah.
Well, what is fascinating is that their attacks on you are still built on a model that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
The idea, I don't have a sense of what your career plans or what you think you need to reach people, but I suspect it's not going on cable news with any type of regularity. And their whole model is based upon, we're going to make them toxic for, Meet the Press or whatever it is. And sorry, it just doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah, the other side of that also is that there are enough, especially in the lower levels, like on the reporter side of things, there are enough journalists who are who are smart enough on this stuff not to get like bullied in this way.
Yep.
And I think that many of those media outlets would much rather have someone like myself on as a guest host than Jonathan Greenblatt.
Right.
So and they know that I'm not an anti-Semitic person. Jonathan Greenblatt knows that I'm not an anti-Semitic person. Yes. He knows that I have actively combated and fought against anti-Semitism. My friend Noah was talking about this. Like Edward Said is. I think famously once said, like, I'm the last Jew is what Edward Said said. Like the only person that seemingly cares about both anti-Semitism and also the emancipation of Palestinians, where he's so predisposed with defending Israel that he has to attack one of the largest like independent media outlets that is unconditionally in support of Palestinians and actually does not even remotely entertain anti-Semitism and fights back against it because, as I like to point out, I'm like Candace Owens is not going to convince Jonathan's like nieces and nephews,
right.
or Bill Ackman's daughter, right? Because Candace Owens is anti-Semitic. So you can always point to her and say, oh, she just hates Israel because she hates Jews. And there is some truth to that, right? Whereas with someone like myself, most people that come into my audience for an extended period of time very quickly realize like, oh, this is bullshit. The whole like this guy's anti-Semitic is just completely made up, and therefore I have the capacity to actually convert his nieces and nephews.
Right.
And the next generation of young progressive Jews away from any kind of association that they might have had with Israel into anti-Zionists.
Right. That's why
think
Richie Torres is their favorite, is because he's fairly young, and they think that like they can manufacture this from the top down. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
Although he's a little bit like obsessed with you to a degree that like I don't know if that's from Jonathan Greenblatt specifically or if he's just like obsessed with you on his own.
No, I think it's a bit of both, but I think it's just like he's Apex attack dog. So like it's clear that they had a beat on me for a while now, and they just won't ever stop. They'll just like, continue pummeling this.
I think it has the opposite effect as they think.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the interesting thing about it. I think it has the opposite effect that they think because it is the bar to assessing it for people's selves is just too low than it would have been in a different era. I mean, part of the reason why I think it's the same dynamic as to why, Chuck Schumer is afraid of Zohran Mamdani, because Zohran is going to replace Chuck Schumer. I mean, not maybe literally, but his ilk is going to replace Chuck Schumer's ilk.
Yeah.
Whereas, Curtis Sliwa is not going to. Whereas, Cuomo is the same ilk. There's just more of a threat, and I think that's it.
Yeah.
All right. The final IM of the day, Cole from Little Rock. The price is God is an incredible line. And
Yeah.
it certainly is. Vinny, thank you for that. That should be a drop. Hasan, really fun to have you here finally.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been an honor. Thank you for having me.
Glad you could make it. Thank you for staying longer than you intended. Emma, thank you for indulging.
No problem. I just get anxious when we keep people over.
Yeah, the anxiety is really impressive.
But it's more pronounced because he's here physically. When we keep guests over, I at least have some removal from it. But
This is the second time that Brian has ever run the show by himself. He's only been here for 3 weeks, and we've thrown everything at him.
Bring it.
Short of power outage, which is tomorrow's fun.
It's hot enough. We'll see.
Brian, great job today. Emma, great job today. Hasan, great job today.
Thank you.
Folks, we'll see you tomorrow.